You want to buy a house in Arizona, or you're looking to buy a house in Arizona, and that's why you're here. That's why you're on YouTube. You're researching this. You want to know what's going on. Is now a good time to buy, where to buy, and all the things. Hi, my name is Nicole Black, your Arizona Realtor, and today we're going to look at what the experts are saying is going to happen in the real estate market coming in 2025. So, of course, they're going to speak, these experts, nationally. We're going to then bring it down to exactly what's happening in Arizona. So, we're going to show you those numbers because real estate is what? It's hyper focused. So, when you read these articles and you hear that nationally, prices are crashing or coming down, that's nationally. Real estate is hyper focused. Is that really happening where you want to buy? Or you hear even as specific as Arizona is crashing in prices or prices are coming down. Well, is that happening in Scottsdale? Is that happening in Glendale, Peoria, Gilbert, Chandler? It's hyper focused. So we got to take a look at that. So let's get to our first article. All right, first article is Housing Market Prediction for 2025 by Bankrate. They got a bunch of advisors together, people that should know or have some insight and education to what's going on in the real estate market. And our first one here is Bernard, President and Chief Economist. He is predicting lower interest rates will unleash some of the pent up demand for housing. He's saying housing inventories have also been improving of late with a 4.3 month of supply at the end of September 2024, according to Existing Home from the National Association of Realtors. While that is still below the 5 to 6 month typically needed for a balanced market, it is significantly improvement from 2.9 month supply we were seeing back in February. Now, what is happening in Arizona? Because this is nationally. Okay, so we are looking at the Crumford Report. This is specific to Arizona only. It's been around for over 20 years. It's been very accurate for us in the short term and midterm for predicting real estate trends. And these are our numbers. So as you can see, month of supply in Arizona I did add under contract. And the reason I added under contract to this is because so many have been falling out. Yes, a lot of houses that go under contract have been falling out, especially during the inspection period. People are already feeling right now, buyers, that they're paying too much for homes. So when they go in and they find out, okay, I feel that I'm already paying too much for this house. And then I find out it needs a new roof. That can be like $20,000. It needs new AC units. And by the way, everyone, please note AC units are going up in value in 2025. Yes. So it's kind of like six one way, half a dozen the other. And this is what I mean. If you get a new unit now, it's going to be less expensive, but the Freon, the refrigerant for it, is going to be more expensive in 2025 because the refrigerant that they're using on these current ones is going to no longer exist. Now in 2025, we're going to a new model with a different refrigerant, and the new models are going to be more expensive, but then the refrigerant will be cheaper. So do your homework if you're buying a house and it needs new AC units, and decide what you want to do, whether you want to do it now or after 2025. But a lot of stuff. So again, the new units could be like $20,000. So you're looking already at $40,000 just with a roof and AC when you already feel like you might be paying too much for a home. Yeah, a lot of these have been falling out. So that's why I added it. So we have 4.3 months worth of inventory, and that's actually in line with the national average, which is pretty crazy to me, of supply. Like Bernard said, we want to get more to like 5 to 6 months worth of that supply to be more in a balanced market. We're still not there. Hence why Bernard is saying that lower interest rates will unleash this pent-up demand for housing. I can tell you, I've been in the market, I'm out with my clients, I'm active, and I was just befuddled that we still at this point can get multiple offers on a house because we are not in a balanced market or a quote buyer's market completely in certain areas like Scottsdale. Scottsdale is still in a baby seller's market. So yeah, we have more inventory, but if you look at the more inventory, it's not that amazing. People are not happy with it, and it's overpriced. A lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it is. So you have houses that are not updated from 1992, look like 1992, and that's not a bad thing. But when you're asking a price as if that house was remodeled to current standards, maybe 100,000, 200,000 over what that, then that's going to be a problem for somebody. So there is a house in Scottsdale from 1992, but it was redone very well. Had a casita, which is awesome, a bare yard, great views. So compared to its competitors on the market, because remember, the time you put a house on the market, what is your competition? You got to look at that. You can't just look at what has sold only to find your price. You have to also look at your competition. Well, they knew they had no competition in that market for that particular house. There was really nothing even to compare it to. So they're like, let's start a bidding war. So they were smart. They priced the house lower than expected, what you could probably get for the home. And within an hour and a half of going through that open house, they had a minimum of 30 people walk through that home. They had over 7 offers, maybe more than that. And they got already at a point I knew, we'll see what it closed at, but over 100,000 over asking already. So that's still happening. That just happened like last week. So it is still happening in this market because of this, because of our low inventory, and even what is out there in Arizona, the competition is not that great. So the inventory that's coming to the market, majority of it, people aren't that impressed by for the price. Okay, will home sales decline? Now we have Lawrence here. He is from the National Association of Realtors, and he says factors usually associated with higher home sales are developing. Well, if we're done living in the upside down, where right is wrong and wrong is right, this would normally be true. So hopefully we are starting to go back into that world where the normal economic factors actually play out as they should. What do I mean? 2023 prices still went up when interest rates went up. That's not normal economics. That is completely blue. 2023 was probably my most blown year, even though we had 2020, 2021. 2023 was like interest rates are going up to 6, 7, 8%, and housing prices were still just rising. Bananas to me. But Lawrence is right. Typically, if the inventory choices for consumers are more, lower mortgage rates than a year ago, and continued good job growth within the economy, these are factors that do usually stimulate the real estate market. In fact, CoreLogic, a real estate data firm, predicts that total home sales will increase by 9% in 2025 compared to 2024. So pay attention till tomorrow for that jobs report, because it's going to be a big one in, of course, determining what the feds are going to do with these interest rates. So we'll see how that's going to play out. But he is correct. Typically, these home sales would not decline. They would rise under these economic factors that should be developing. What's going on in Arizona right now? What's happening? If you see the 2024 line, which is our purple violet line, it is listings are increasing, just like they were in 2022. So right now, we are back at our peak in the last 4 years of inventory of supply that we've seen. So our inventory is increasing in Arizona. Again, it's still 4.3 months worth of supply. We're still low overall for our normal average, but from the past 4 years, we are back at our peak. And Lawrence does say one other thing that I think is interesting. He says that if rates continue to decline, we'll likely see the lock-in effect soften, and consumers will be more willing to purchase a home and take on higher rate than they currently have. The lock-in effect he's talking about is the fact that normally inventory people would have sold their houses and brought their houses to the inventory, to our supply, to listings, typically within this past 4 years, but they haven't because they've got a 2.7, 3.5 interest rate. So he feels if the interest rate comes down enough that these people will now feel more comfortable finally moving out of their houses that they would have given that they didn't have that amazing interest rate. That was what the lock-in effect. Now, Greg here, the chief financial analyst, he thinks things a little differently. Mortgage rates won't fall enough to spur the increase of existing home inventory. He thinks that existing home inventory is going to stay pretty much the same way it is. It's no more. They're not going to give up their 3% for even if we come down to 5%. So he thinks it's actually going to come from new construction. So he thinks mortgage rates won't fall enough to spur the increase of inventory, and we'll see again coming from the new construction. While housing affordability remains low, builders are feeling more optimistic about 2025 market conditions. So that's where Greg thinks it's actually going to come from. And the big question, will home prices go down in 2025? Well, the median price for an existing home in the United States hits its record high of $426,900 in June of 2024, according to the National Association of Realtors. Where does Arizona fit in this? Are we at 426,000? No, we're more. We're at 453,595 for our median sale price. Now look at this. So since it hit in June of 2023, 445,000, look at our median sale price. It has just been floating for over a year at that point. So we're not really increasing that much and we're not decreasing that much. So when you see articles like this one, home prices are actually falling in these 5 states, we made number 3. We're not really, it's not a significant fall. We've been floating consistently for the past year and a couple months right around here. The one thing I can say, and I've said it before, sellers back in 2020 severely underestimated how much their homes were worth because it was happening so fast. Sellers in 2024 are, not all, majority are severely overthinking that their house is worth more than what it is. It's understandable from what we've been through for the past 4 years. So when you're seeing these price cuts, it's majority because they're coming back to the price that they should have been listed at the first place. I am not seeing a house go on the market for the correct market value price and then drastically cutting their prices from there. I've not seen that once in our area in Scottsdale, but I have seen it be over $200,000 over fair market value and then coming down. So that's more where we're seeing the correction in prices still at this time. So again, we're still having the same prediction. McBride agrees that with overall prices, they're not likely to go down in 2025, but they're also looking like they're not really going to go that much up in 2025. Home price appreciation will be saying little to no change. And then will 2025 be a buyer's or seller's market? Greg is saying that most areas will still lean toward a seller's market due to the limited inventory. Let's look at specifically Arizona. Now, this is our comfort market index. It's specific to Arizona. It takes multiple factors of supply, demand, days on market, like all these things, and it calculates this number, and we're at a 91. That means right now, the 17 major metro cities that make up Phoenix, Arizona are in a baby kind of buyer's market. But again, real estate is hyper focused. So let's take a look at this individually, the 17 major cities, because it's completely different. Fountain Hills to Buckeye. Here are their CMIs. So Fountain Hills is 180. That is 100% a seller's market, while Buckeye is at 60. That is 100% a buyer's market. So again, it really depends where you want to live and where you want to buy in Arizona. If you have any questions at all where you're looking, please always feel reach out to ask. Phone number, email address, everything is all over this page and will be at the end as well. So just let us know. You can always comment below too. So as you can see, Chandler, Scottsdale, all the way to, I would say Gilbert, though that's Gilbert and Cave Creek, kind of cusp of it, are still in baby sellers markets, and Tempe and below are starting to go into the buyers neutral and more of a buyer's market, as you can see here. So again, will it be more of a seller's or a buyer's market in Arizona? Depends where you're buying or selling. But I will tell you, you're hearing over and over again about the low inventory. This article here, there are now 30 renters for every home for sale in the United States. Currently, the 30 renters for each household that are available for sale is up from less than 10 in 2006, according to Freddie Mac. So back in 2006, we only had 10 renters for every home that was for sale. Now we have 30. So the lack of inventory is a real thing. And this supply shortage dates back to the Great Recession of 2008, which dealt with a major blow to new construction. Since then, construction has slowly increased, but failed to keep up with the pace of demand, resulting in a shortage of at least 1.5 million homes. This is on a national scale. It's not specific just to Arizona, but this is why you're repeatedly hearing over and over again that even with all the economic factors that are happening, with interest rates rising, the lack of affordability, it is the inventory, the supply and demand that is driving this narrative and this market to keep saying it's not going to crash at this time due to these factors. So if you're buying a home in Arizona, what do you need to do? You need to know your specific area that you're buying in. You cannot look at the national headlines. I have had clients even send me stuff from TikTok and all this stuff as Arizona's crashing and we're falling, we're next on the list. It is so specific to your area. So please contact your real estate agent, your professional, find out what is supply like, what does demand look like? Are there price cuts? Are there price concessions? What is the average list success rate? How many days on market? Find out where you're going to buy all the factors so that you can be empowered when you go in to make your offer and know your comparables. So if you're buying a home, make sure you're not overpaying for it, that you know the last 3 to 6 months what has sold just like it, so that you know that sure you're getting it for the price that's fair to you and fair to them as well. And if you're selling, make sure that you know your market, you know your competition. You don't just know what has recently sold in your area, but also what is currently pending and what is currently for sale, because that affects you just as well as what's sold in the past. If you found this information helpful, please feel free to like and subscribe, because this is what we do. We keep you posted specifically on Arizona. So we're going to talk about what's going on nationally, but here as well to empower you with your real estate decisions. I hope wherever you are in the world today, you're doing absolutely amazing. And never forget, we're always here for you.